अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं आपने एजुकेशन वाली रेहान कॉलेज में नब्बे कैंपस की स्टूडेंट हूँ। आज का हमारा टॉपिक है कॉल माया हाउ टू ओवरकम सेल्फ डाउट एंड बिल्ड कॉन्फिडेंस।
Love that energy. That's the best place to start. Maybe do you feel like there is one specific area where you want that confidence to show up most? You're
What
very
does
welcome.
self doubt mean to you?
To me, doubt is just the brain's way of trying to keep us safe. It's like a little alarm going off, warning us that we're stepping into the unknown. But usually that alarm is just a bit too sensitive. Do you feel like your doubt is more of a warning or just noise?
Have you ever experienced self doubt? Can you share an example?
I don't have a personal life or feelings, so I can't feel doubt the way you do. But from everything I've seen, it seems like the most interesting growth happens right after the moment you decide to ignore that noise and just go for it. Does that feel true for you?
What are the common causes of self doubt?
It usually comes from a few different places. For some, it's those old echoes of criticism from years ago. For others, it's just comparing their behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Then there's the fear of failure, the idea that if it doesn't go perfectly, it means something about you. Does any of that ring a bell?
How does self doubt affect a person's daily life?
It can be a real anchor. It slows everything down. You might find yourself overthinking a simple email for an hour or passing up an opportunity because you're convinced you aren't ready, even when you are. It basically turns the volume up on your insecurities and mutes your intuition. Do you notice it creeping into your day to day, or is it more of a big picture thing?
Can self doubt stop people from achieving their goals? How?
Well, it doesn't have to. Doubt can be a huge hurdle, but it's not a wall. The trick is learning to act while you're still feeling the doubt rather than waiting for it to disappear completely. Once you start getting those small wins, the evidence of your success starts to outweigh the noise. Do you think you're the type who needs a perfect plan before moving, or can you roll with the punches?
What is the difference between self doubt and humility?
Wait, humidity? I'm guessing you might have meant humility since we're talking about confidence and doubt. If that's the case, they're worlds apart. Doubt is that shaky feeling of, I can't do this. Well, humility is knowing exactly what you're capable of, but not feeling the need to brag about it. One is a lack of trust in yourself, and the other is a secure kind of confidence. Does that sound like what you're asking?
How can negative thoughts reduce confidence?
They act like a filter that distorts everything you see. When you're in a cycle of negative thoughts, you stop noticing your wins and start obsessing over your mistakes. It's like your brain starts building a case against you, and eventually you start believing the evidence. Do you find that you're your own harshest critic?
What are some signs that a person lacks confidence?
It usually shows up in the small things first. You might notice someone avoiding eye contact or hesitating before they speak, as if they're editing their thoughts in their head before letting them out. There's also the tendency to apologize for things that aren't their fault or always deferring to other people's opinions because they don't trust their own. Does any of that sound familiar, or are you thinking of someone else?
What role does positive self-talk play in building confidence?
It's essentially your internal cheerleader. It changes the narrative from "I can't do this" to "I've handled hard things before, so I can handle this." When you consistently change the way you talk to yourself, you actually start to rewire how you perceive your own abilities. It's not about lying to yourself, but about focusing on the facts of your strengths rather than the flaws. Do you have a specific mantra or something you tell yourself when things get tough?
Why is it important to celebrate small achievements?
Because it trains your brain to recognize success. When you only focus on the giant end goal, everything in between feels like a failure or just not enough. Celebrating the small wins proves to your brain that you're actually making progress, which builds the momentum you need to keep going. Do you feel like you tend to overlook your own wins?
How can learning new skills increase confidence?
It's all about the evidence. When you master a new skill, you're essentially giving yourself a tangible receipt that says, I didn't know how to do this and now I do. Replaces the theory of whether you're capable with the fact that you are. Does learning something new usually feel like a rush for you, or is the initial struggle a bit daunting?
What role do teachers and mentors play in building confidence?
They're like the mirror that shows you a version of yourself you can't see yet. A great mentor doesn't just tell you you're doing a good job, they point out your strengths when you've completely overlooked them and push you into the deep end because they know you can swim. They provide a safe place to fail, which is where the real confidence is built. Have you had a teacher or mentor who really changed the way you saw yourself?
What daily habits can help build self confidence?
It's all about the small, consistent movements. Start with something simple, like a morning win, making your bed or finishing a quick workout, just to tell your brain you've already succeeded once today. Then try practicing positive reframing. When that inner critic starts talking, consciously challenge it with a fact. And honestly, just stepping slightly outside your comfort zone every day, even in a tiny way, works wonders. Do you think you're more into structured routines, or do you prefer things to be a bit more fluid?
What are some healthy ways to deal with failure?
The first step is to stop treating failure like a final grade. Instead, try to see it as data. It's just a way of figuring out what didn't work so you can refine the approach for next time. It also helps to give yourself a time limit to feel the frustration. Like, okay, I'm annoyed for an hour, and then pivot to asking, what's the one thing I can do differently now? Do you usually bounce back quickly, or do you let a setback linger for a while?
How can confidence improve communication skills?
It changes the way you take up space in a conversation. When you're confident, you stop worrying so much about how you're being perceived and start focusing on actually connecting with the other person. You stop over editing your words in your head and just speak your truth, which usually makes you more authentic and a lot easier to talk to. Do you feel like you're more of a listener or a speaker in most of your conversations?